Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, One Piece chapter 989 is out. If you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. This felt like an old classic chapter of One Piece. Like, I'm not sure if I can put it into words, man. Maybe it's the crew standing together at the end of the chapter that gives me that feeling of nostalgia. It's honestly been, I think, too long. You guys know since the New World, a lot of craziness has happened. The story is packed full of characters and enemies and obstacles. For like 5 years, maybe even more than that, the Straw Hats were separated. Everybody has their own mission. Any reunion was fleeting or I think less significant, and this one absolutely was not. In the heat of the battle, they are ready, backing down to nobody. This chapter made me tear up hard twice, the end being one of those moments. But at the same time, mixed with that nostalgia was a feeling I can honestly say that I have never had before. The Straw Hat crew feels like a Yonko crew. You could replace the Straw Hats with like the red-haired pirates from Marineford and it would make the same amount of sense to me. I think that it was the joyous fun everybody was having in a situation a lot of people could interpret as hopeless. This honestly felt like the entire point of the chapter. Reading between the lines, the chapter is titled, "It Doesn't Feel Like We're Gonna Lose." Why does Grandpa Yo feel that way? Because the Straw Hats are here, infecting everybody around them with their competence, their confidence, and charisma. The Old English word often used in pirate stories for this kind of hero mentality is swashbuckle or swashbuckling. What it means is engaging in daring and romantic adventure with ostentatious bravado or flamboyance. I think the Straw Hats embody this word and the kinds of heroes who came to represent it. With the Straw Hats around, you can't help but to have hope. Facing down an indestructible Yonko of the sea, Frankie smiles in her face, proclaiming his captain the future Pirate King. No lie guys, I bawled my eyes out here. A lot of scenes have been emotional for me over the course of, 10 years or so that I've been caught up to One Piece, but I'm not sure if anything since Marineford can top this moment. It felt like a good time to break out my old intro from 2015. It was such a damn super moment. I know Straw Hats often say that Luffy's gonna become king of the pirates, but this one hit home so damn hard. Big Mom threatens that she'd love to add several Straw Hat creatures to her collection, and Brook's like, damn right, we different, I'm glad you noticed. Bro. Frankie chimes in, hey, if you want me, I'm right here. Jinbei counters Big Mom and she tells him, you're on my list of people to kill. And Jinbei responds, yeah, try if you'd like to, good luck. Robin sends Big Mom tumbling away and she shares a small moment with Jinbei like, how did I do? Jinbei's like, wahahaha, perfect. In the midst of all of this, the most fearful characters of the Straw Hats, Usopp and Chopper, are still hyped up for docking. Usopp's like, I can't go any further, I've sustained too much damage. Wait, docking? Someone mentioned docking? Docking is legitimately the One Piece version of the Senzu Bean. To anybody who doesn't read One Piece, this might seem like a joke, but it is really not. This chapter was just glorious. They know the stakes, they know the situation, and hell yeah, they can still smile. This has always been really powerful to me. I also got a little bit of sense that Oda was showing a bit of love to the more senior or, mature members of the Straw Hats. Frankie didn't just inspire Grandpa Yo, he might have inspired Nami as well. She asks, should we really be irritating a Yonko like this? And Frankie says, Nami, you've forgotten why we're here. He basically implied we're here to beat them. Irritation comes with the territory. The ones I felt like who really stepped up in this chapter were Frankie, Robin, Jinbei, and Brook. Maybe we can call them the old hats. They seem to know that this isn't the time to be afraid, or to show that fear, even if you may have it. I think that's why they felt like a Yonko crew, man. Like, they felt like difference makers, they felt like equals to Big Mom and Kaido. For that reason alone, this chapter was really special to me. I'm all about, the we made it moments. And although this isn't like an official moment like that, it gives those vibes. This feels like how Roger and his entire crew would have acted when they fought anybody, literally anybody, no matter the odds. We aren't just gonna fight you and then defeat you, we're gonna mock you, we're gonna trash talk you, and we're gonna flex on you. But I cannot not say it. I know you don't want me to, but I have to. Eventually, this will not look too good. The good vibes of this chapter will pass, I'm just telling you. I'm not saying that the Straw Hats should back down, but you would think that reality would loom here pretty quick. Can they be this strong in the face of what may be coming? Or will they entirely and magically avoid these stakes reaching another level? Pretty soon we're going to find out, and it's really exciting. I think that it is a lot easier to smile when you aren't losing yet. But I think that it's an important theme that you not lose hope. Not until you are defeated. You guys read the chapter, I don't talk about it panel for panel, but there's a few things that stuck out to me as important details or good conversation topics. This one for me is the biggest and most interesting from a theorist or theory perspective. We finally learned why the numbers are called monsters or animals or creatures. They are the result of the world government's experiments attempting to create giants. I'ma just be honest, I have been waiting for this bomb for years. I knew that the world government had created some kind of giant. They just needed to appear. Before this chapter, we were led to believe that all of the world government's and Vegapunk's attempts to create giants failed. And of course, that can still be true. But it doesn't mean that they didn't get really close to something that they would consider to be a success. I also think that there's some possibility that at some point in the story, they might actually find a technology to create giants that would succeed. However exactly they would define that. Or they have done so and nobody knows yet. But yeah, this whole situation for me, it's very similar to artificial devil fruits. Caesar is a knockoff Vegapunk. Anything he can do, Vegapunk can do better. Vegapunk's smile that Momonosuke ate is better than Caesar's smile. Vegapunk's giants are better than Caesar's. The world government and Vegapunk are involved in some horrific human experimentation. I don't know if that's like confirmed fact yet, but there's enough clues for me to basically consider it so. I think that this is pretty much straight up revealed in Punk Hazard when the crew stumbles into a room of frozen prisoners. I think obviously, very obviously, these prisoners were test subjects. The numbers that we see here were likely prisoners or animals or something. Related to this, I think that it's also been implied that the Pacifista were made using real people. They are partly alive, probably transformed in a similar way to Kuma. Or if not similar to Kuma, maybe pieces of people were taken and incorporated within them. Also related to this conversation, we still don't know how Vegapunk and Caesar created artificial devil fruits. But I'm just telling you, I'm willing to throw it out there. This is my huge bet that it likely involves death of some kind. The whole situation is dirty. This is where I think that the story is going to go soon enough, and so chapters like this with these kinds of reveals, make a lot of sense to me. I'm expecting a lot of bombs around the time that we meet Vegapunk. But yeah, there was a really interesting quote from this chapter. Big Mom states that these Punk Hazard giants were bought like paid for a transaction by Kaido. I had this translation confirmed by Ohara, who reads the Japanese RAWs, and that Japanese translates it exactly the same. Kaido bought them. Let's take a moment and think this one through. If Kaido bought the giants, who could have sold them? The list here isn't that long. Caesar, Vegapunk, the world government. But remember, Kaido is a pirate. I assume if he can take something, he would. So I think that this rules out Caesar. Kaido's not buying giants from Caesar that Caesar did not even make. For me, guys, it just seems absurdly likely that Kaido bought the giants from Vegapunk or the world government itself, somehow through the underground. So they literally sold their failed experiments to a notorious pirate, their enemy. But really, it's not that crazy. At the start of this arc, we see CP0 engaging in a shady weapons deal with Orochi. All of this stuff is eventually gonna come to light, and they, better be prepared for that great cleansing. But here it's just a little bit different because they're actually selling a weapon to a pirate. Maybe it was more damaging to have them around in their own custody. But they didn't just want to off them, they sold them. Of course, this is just a theory, but I don't know where else Kaido would have bought, or who else Kaido would have bought them from. But yeah, I just want to know in what way these Punk Hazard giants were considered failures. Because they wouldn't have been sold, they wouldn't have lost them if they weren't considered that, but they're very clearly giants. Plan to make giant things success, but not entirely. Can they not be controlled? It's actually kind of horrifying that all they have managed to say so far, I believe, in the story is their number, which I think is probably likely their identification or experiment number from Punk Hazard. I just want to throw that one out there because, immediately that makes their story kind of sad to me. Were they failures because they were just too weak or not as strong as the government had hoped? based on this chapter, they don't seem overwhelmingly powerful. Frankie, shot one in the face and it went down. But then again, they're also drunk. Or maybe they're just prototypes. Again, I'm attracted to this idea that the world government actually can and has created giants that they are satisfied with. These numbers are just not them. I want to throw this one in here too as we're talking about it. Kaido is called the world's strongest creature. I am not going to let this go. We now have a further tie between Kaido and Punk Hazard, aside from Caesar. I would not be surprised if Kaido has personal history in Punk Hazard himself. Kaido is a dragon, either a dragon itself or that is his devil fruit. Either way, Kaido can transform into a dragon. It is still not explained how Vegapunk created artificial dragons or his dragon artificial devil fruit from Punk Hazard. I personally think that there is a connection here. I think that it's worth speculating. Kaido has been captured many times. Was he ever captured and sent to Punk Hazard? Has Kaido ever been experimented on? It's a really old theory, but this chapter with the giants being from Punk Hazard, it adds something to it. But yeah, let's switch gears here and talk about something different. Zoro desperately wants to fight Kaido, and it's kind of, it's off-putting how often Oda is making Zoro hint that. Seems like everything that Zoro said in this chapter, maybe the last chapter, is, I need to get to Kaido, essentially. Everybody else is a waste of time, I gotta fight Kaido. And right now it seems like Oda's working pretty hard to destroy the idea that he's going to fight King. Hell, at the end of the chapter, Sanji notes all the flying ability users, sort of implying like I'm intending to fight the things that fly, which would include King. Sanji vs. King now feels like what we should be thinking. But at the same time, Zoro is desperate to fight Kaido in a way that makes me think that he isn't calm and composed like he normally would be. But maybe I'm reading too much into that. I'll be honest, I've thought for a long time that the supernova, which includes Zoro, all of the supernova, because I think that all of the supernova are gonna find their way into this arc, one way or another, will have an all-out fight with Kaido. So you have Kaido versus all of the supernova. I presume that this will be after Kaido has defeated the Scabbards. So first wave Scabbards, next wave supernova. That's just kind of how I see it. It could be wrong. But yeah, I totally believe that Zoro is going to cut Kaido. But I still think that he needs an official opponent. Even in a similar fight in Thriller Bark, Zoro got Ryuma before teaming up against Oars. So who is Zoro's Ryuma? I know that a lot of people think that Zoro is just gonna straight up fight Kaido and kill Kaido. And then maybe Luffy gets Big Mom. I am not there yet. Let's be patient here. I'm not there yet. If you end up being right, you can walk away with the huge W. I'm not there yet. But right now, Oda is absolutely messing with my head and making it hard to be certain of anything. But to be even more honest here, right now it just feels like trying to predict matchups after each chapter is a total waste of time. Because every chapter, there is a different skirmish or matchup. Oda's going all over the place with, various things that could become more and then they don't. I don't think that he wants us to know. Not yet. Which maybe implies some surprising decisions incoming, maybe. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Sanji being alive because of the raid suit was obviously going to happen, but I still enjoyed that moment. Big Mom getting rolled away was funny. Anybody who's got a stick so far up their butt that they don't find this funny, your loss. For me, guys, I got major payoff. This chapter and the Frankie moment is its peak One Piece. This moment only works because Oda set up Big Meme first. Even if you don't like it, I want you to appreciate that. But yeah, guys, this chapter was incredible. I'll give it 10,000 joys. But yeah, guys, if you notice anything from the chapter that I might have missed, just share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.